Israel is one of the oldest countries in the world. Its history goes back thousands of years, which makes it very easy for us to forget that it was ever a new country at all. And yet, when you look at the land itself, you'll see evidence of modern construction everywhere. Skyscrapers in Tel Aviv, highways connecting north to south, all the way down to the Mediterranean, a bustling international airport. It seems impossible that this could be the same place as the biblical land of Israel. But it is. All these changes didn't happen overnight. The transformation took decades. So here, as a quick history of the land of present-day Israel from the first known records till modern day. Let's begin with the Bronze Age. This was the time when the ancient Egyptians were building their pyramids. On the eastern shores of the Mediterranean Sea, there existed a group of city-states known as Canaan. Their society was similar to other societies in the region and the rest of the world. They had kings who ruled over them and enforced order, merchants who traded goods and commodities. Both within the region and outside of it, farmers who grew food to feed the populace, and artisans who created beautiful works of art and design. Though they lacked the power of the Egyptians, the Canaanites had one thing that made them stand out. They invented the first alphabet that we know of. Out of all the different scripts found in ancient Mesopotamia, Egyptian hieroglyphics and others, only the Phoenician alphabet was more simplified and elegant. It revolutionized human communication and therefore had a huge impact on the future of the Israelites. But, unfortunately, the Canaanites would fall to the might of the Egyptians and Assyrians before long. And now we enter the time period we all know so well, thanks to the Bible. At the edge of the desert, away from the great empires, lived the Israelites. They were nomads who followed their herds of sheep and goats into the wilderness. And like many nomads, they believed that God had spoken to them directly and given them laws for how they should live. These laws were recorded by Moses and are now called the Torah. According to tradition, the Israelites left Egypt after being enslaved there and crossed the Red Sea, an event known as the Exodus. Either way, they settled in the land of Canaan, where they eventually split into two separate kingdoms, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. With the help of the Phoenicians and others, the Israelites developed their own alphabet based on that of the Phoenicians. Many of the consonants are still the same as our alphabet today. Both kingdoms would go on to rise and fall over the course of several centuries. But they would leave a lasting legacy on the region. The northern kingdom would eventually become known as the land of Zebulun, and the southern kingdom would become known as Judea or Judea. For about 700 years, the lands of Israel and Judah were occupied by the Babylonians and then Persians. Then came Alexander the Great. He conquered the region easily, and Hellenism started to spread. But the Jews revolted against their new Greek rulers. After winning their freedom, the Jewish people entered the period known as the Second Temple, where Jerusalem and its temple were destroyed by the Babylonians and rebuilt by the Persians. The Jews adopted aspects of Persian culture while maintaining their unique religious practices. Then came the Roman Empire, which eventually conquered the region. The Jews won many battles against the Romans, but they weren't able to win in the end. Jerusalem and the Second Temple were completely destroyed, and the Jews were exiled throughout the Roman Empire. The period from then on was known as the Third Temple until today. The land was renamed Syria, Palestina. The Jewish people began to return to the land and rebuild their lives. Eventually, Muslim armies from the Arabian Peninsula conquered the area and brought Islam to the region. When the Muslim armies arrived, they actually welcomed them because they had been under the oppressive rule of the Byzantines. Slowly but surely, the Jews, Christians, and Muslims built their places of worship and lived together. They respected each other enough to coexist peacefully. The Muslim rulers even helped rebuild Jerusalem, and the Western Wall is still standing from that time. For over 500 years, the land was ruled by various Muslim dynasties, mostly from Egypt. But in 1099, European Christians conquered Jerusalem and established 4 small Crusader states. The Crusaders and the Muslims fought bitterly over control of the city. In 1187, a Muslim leader named Saladin recaptured Jerusalem. Throughout the Middle Ages, the land was mostly ruled by the Mamluks, who were originally slaves from Sudan and Ethiopia. In the late 1700s, Napoleon Bonaparte invaded the region during his Egyptian campaign, but he was defeated and retreated. Soon after, the Ottoman Empire conquered the region and ruled it for another 400 years. During this time, the population of the land was almost entirely Arab. The Jews had mostly left the region due to persecution over the centuries. But in the early 1800s, some European Jews began to return to the land of their ancestors. By the 1880s, there were around 20,000 living in Ottoman Palestine. At the end of World War I, Britain and France split up the Ottoman Empire between themselves. Under British rule, more Jews began to immigrate to Palestine. More Arabs also immigrated in from surrounding areas. By 1914, there were around 850,000 Arabs and 80,000 Jews. Tensions grew as both groups wanted independence and sovereignty over the land. Then came the Holocaust, which killed 6 million Jews throughout Europe. This led to an increase in immigration to Palestine. During World War II, the British began to lose control of the region. When the British pulled out, the two groups went to war with each other. In 1947, the UN proposed that the region be divided into 2 states, one Jewish and one Arab. This plan was accepted by the Jews, but rejected by the Arabs. So the British pulled out, and the State of Israel was established on May 14, 1948. The neighboring Arab states didn't recognize Israel and invaded the region 5 days later. But Israel won the war and expanded its territory beyond the borders proposed by the UN. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs fled or were forced to leave the region and resettle in the neighboring countries. Israel was now a fully fledged modern nation-state. Since then, Israel has been involved in several wars and numerous smaller conflicts with surrounding Arab nations. They formed alliances with other nations throughout the world and have become a major technological and scientific hub. Over 6 million Jews have immigrated to Israel since its founding in 1948, many of whom came from Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Today, Israel is a major player on the world stage. It's a developed country with a strong economy in many beautiful cities. As of 2023, it has a population of 16 million people. Of those, around 8 million are Jewish and around 7 million are Arab. It's important to understand that the people and culture have changed drastically over time. The land was first inhabited by the Canaanites, then the Israelites, then the Muslims. Each group added something to the region and helped shape it into what it is today. But most importantly, we need to remember that the region was inhabited by Canaanites long before the Israelites ever arrived. The narrative that the Bible tells is only one of many stories that have happened in the region. We must strive to understand all the narratives so that we can better understand the history of Israel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for more content, and I will catch you next time.